shallows of the Canadian Arctic or the steaming rainforests that bordered the Amazon River. Her trips to Africa were too many and too varied to remember. The newspapers and television stations were quick to run a story if it involved Samantha Carlson hunting down a new geological find. She was attractive, athletic, intelligent, and accomplished. She was newsworthy. Her love-hate relationship with the media had started 3 years ago when she had discovered a new anticline loaded with oil in northern Texas. The skeptics insisted that the area had been exploited and a large find was impossible. She had responded by throwing the algorithm for her computer program on the table and letting it go public. The program, she contended, was the crux of her discovery. It allowed the previously unnoted bulge to be seen through geophysics. She recommended they punch an 8,000-foot hole in the ground. And they did. The anomaly gave way to 3 million barrels of light Texas crude, $2 million to drill the well, and almost $200 million in return. The bonus they had lavished on her had paid for half the penthouse in which she now stood. She winced as she thought about where the other half had come from. Her parents' estate. It was almost 2 years to the day since their plane had crashed into the sea just after liftoff from Casablanca. They had been en route to London to meet her and spend a week traveling through Europe. The news had devastated her. Her mother and father had been young, in their early 50s, and in excellent health. She'd never entertained the thought that they wouldn't be there, and the void their deaths left was still unfulfilled. Her mind relived the memorial service, and once the all-too-familiar tape played through, she let it go. She'd tried to stop the images for the first year, but her subconscious was too strong. The sight of the two coffins, side by side, being lowered into the ground was indelibly etched into her mind. She watched as the 2 handfuls of dirt left her hand and splayed across the tops of the coffins as they sat beneath ground level. Empty caskets, lined with a few trinkets and pictures of her with her parents, their bodies never found. She closed her eyes and the picture stopped. Samantha opened her eyes, feeling the wet tears, and blinked away the moisture. The park was blurry for a few moments, then it came back into focus. She turned away and re-entered the apartment. The coffee was still reasonably fresh, and she poured one more cup. She sat on the edge of the couch and looked at the number she had taken from her voicemail. She picked up the phone and dialed. "Good morning, Gemstar," a pleasant voice answered. "Good morning. Could you put me through to Patrick Kerrigan, please?" "Certainly. Whom should I say is calling?" "Samantha Carlson?" The line switched over to Muzak for a few moments, then Kerrigan's unmistakable baritone came on. "Ms. Carlson, thank you for returning my call." "No problem, Mr. Kerrigan, except that I have no idea who you are or what you may want with me."
"That's understandable, Ms. Carlson. Have you heard of Gemstar?"
"No, can't say I have."
"We're a mining company specializing in gemstones, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, that kind of thing, and we need a geologist. Would you be interested in meeting with us?"
Sam Carlson took a moment before answering. She was currently without a contract, but financially she didn't need to work another day in her life. Then again, not working was boring. "It depends on what you're offering, Mr. Kerrigan," she replied.
"Our offices are in Manhattan, and I'd rather not discuss it over the phone if you'd like to drop by. Shall we say 1:30 this afternoon?"
At precisely 1:30, Samantha Carlson stepped off the elevator onto the 63rd floor of Gemstar's building and into a world of opulence. Cultured Italian marble tiles graced the floors, and original oils hung throughout the foyer of the multinational company. Comfortable leather chairs and couches paired with teak tables furnished the room. The tones were muted teal, and a small waterfall tucked into a feature wall gurgled as the water softly fell onto the rocks. Sam Carlson took it all in and stopped at the rocks and the waterfall. She moved closer and almost gasped. Embedded in the stone were small greenish rocks, uncut diamonds. She bent over, admiring the naturalness of the display. A voice drifted over to her from behind, and she turned to face the speaker. It was a man in his early 50s and of obvious wealth. His hair was well-groomed and dark, with a slight graying about the temples. She wondered if the gray was natural or dyed for the effect. His suit was Armani, his tie silk, but it was the charismatic air about the man that told the uneducated